Welcome back to It Takes a Village. Can you believe it? It is a new year, 2026. I feel like I don't want to say that out loud, that I have to believe it's true.
No, I'll sign when I used to sign checks. I will sign 2025 or sign things for the next 3 months.
Yeah, and then scratch it out and wonder, is that void now, right? Did I sign my name? Wait. So friends, it is 2026. We are here on It Takes a Village, and this is a podcast where we come and ask more questions than we have answers for. The village, as we know, is a place that we talk about the most important and meaningful things in life, and that is deep, abiding, raw, messy, middle connections with other humans. And I think the essence of really what it means to be human and to thrive as a human is to find deep, honest belonging. So we are here at Countryside talking about belonging. I'm here gathered with my colleague, Dan, who is behind the camera. Dan, you can say hi, at least. We can hear your voice. Dan Loven-Crum, who is always making magic behind the scenes. And then my friend and colleague and your incoming moderator, Dr. Leah Georges.
Hey,
Leah.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
It's much easier sometimes to be out there in the church than back here. This is a different experience.
And back here is right. We are back here in the green room where the
Yeah.
band gathers before worship on Sundays. But Leah, you are anywhere but behind the scenes, I would say. I was not here last Sunday, if you are in this context here on the Commons, and Leah gave our Epiphany sermon, which was
fun.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It was great, and I'm hardest on myself, of course, and so thank you for the chance to keep talking about the message today.
Of course. Yeah. And, we're talking about leadership. We're talking about integration of our own personal work and messy middle lives. And that's really the beauty of living in a faith community, because we know that there are a lot of projections and posturing around what it means to be a thriving human these days.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we know that we just both rolled in here today with a lot more questions than what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And we know that the power of connection and the power of deep honesty propels us to live into our best selves. And I think that's usually when we take our hats off, our shoes off, we drop the briefcase, we drop any of the charades that make us believe that we are anything else but just true, honest little people, kind of navigate this world together.
Right.
So Epiphany, right? Epiphany, this season of Epiphany, there are a lot of stars in the sky. Another reminder, there's a blue dot. We are a tiny part of the universe.
That's right.
At the same time, that tiny part is all there is, that we embody the deep love of God, that we embody Spirit's ever-evolving self and trying to weave together this community.
Right.
So Leah Georges, you are here. You wear lots of hats.
Lots of hats.
I want you to explain briefly those three of those hats. You are a campus, college, university leader. You are a mom of some amazing kids. Very amazing kids. And you're also a leader here on the Tri-Peak Commons at Countryside. So talk a little bit about those three hats, if you will, just for a rolling start here.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for inviting me to be on the podcast. I listen every week, and so this is really an honor and a privilege to get to sit here in the green room with you both today. I am Creighton University's director of our doctoral program in interdisciplinary leadership. Our program was founded in 2011, and so we spend a lot of time in community with other leaders, people that are just curious about what it means to exist for and with others in practicing leadership, but also academically understanding how it shows up in the world. So I rarely am the expert in the room when I'm with our students. Most of the time, I'm learning more from them, I think, than they are from me. And it's a privilege to be with people that are there on purpose, that want to show up in the world to do the next right thing as they can in their own space. So that's how I spend my day. I was there this morning. Back the new year, we had our first meeting together as a team again, and it felt good just to be in community and present with the people that I work with every day. I am a mom. Me and my husband, Jesse, we have two kids, 9 and 11 years old.
Yay.
It is, and that's the hardest job, I think. It's not a job. It's a gift, but it is to do it well, work. In my experience, and sometimes the work is heartbreaking in the best way because I care a lot about that job. But they're great. My kids are very different from each other and exactly who are supposed to be in my life, and I hope I'm in theirs exactly the way that they need to. spoiler alert, I'm not. We're all trying to figure that out together.
We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
right,
Yeah,
feeling
yes.
forward in all the best ways.
Yeah, and I enjoy so much the work I get to do here at Countryside. I'm the vice moderator, so in February, I'll get to step into shoes that have been filled by people much wiser than me for years prior, in my own way, and get to be for and with our congregation as we take the next right step forward in becoming and continuing to be a Countryside that Omaha needs, that fill the pews of this church need and want. So I feel really lucky to get to do those things. And I mean, the people here are great. The people that I get to, right, they are. I mean, my kids once, well, they say often, like, do you have to go to church today? And my answer is always, I get to. And I believe it. And the day I stop believing it is the day you start to wonder, is this where I'm supposed to be? But the answer is, no, I get to be there. And this is the place that I get to go when the job that I get paid for feels tough. Or when the kids deserve a mom that needs a reset. And that's what I get here. Even when it's you walk in the church and it's, you got a second? The answer is yes. So I feel very lucky that I get to be in this work. With you, too. I mean, what a gift. This is great.
Oh, thank you, Leah. I mean, so you've scratched the surface. Just getting to know Leah as a professional, as a colleague, as a friend, as a mom, as a person who wears her very self in the most vibrant, honest ways. You're not going to be in the presence of Leah and not learn something. So we're thrilled that you're here this morning.
Yeah,
is it the
thank
morning
you.
still? We've had a few coffees. It's the afternoon, whatever it is. So we are starting this podcast in this season of Epiphany, leaning into Lent, and those are liturgical seasons.
Yeah.
Not everyone kind of has a grounding or that resonates, but what that means is there is always more light and love, right? And there's a grounding presence that calls each of us to kind of put a line in the sand that says, here I am, right? Sometimes it's just showing up. I can just be here today. I can just do one thing. Well, I want to really frame this next Epiphany season with these 4 words, the next right thing. We've talked about this. I think it was seminary or even before that. And then in my doctoral work, I've encountered this numerous times, different theologians, different iterations of the Desert Fathers and meditation. And I first learned this as the next faithful step, right? And so we're thrust into this new year and the world says, well, what are you going to do? It's January. You better figure it out by January 31st or you are dead in the water and another year. You have to wait for another year to
everyone
finally
else
fix
did it. Everyone did it. How come you didn't do it?
Right?
Yep.
So we start with a little bit of an anxiety-provoking kind of era if we lean into what the world says we should be doing, right? If we say we are grounded in something much deeper, and I call that deep slow time, Richard Rohr, right? That we live in a cyclical, first an embodied cyclical nature, that our world has been here before us, as Leah mentioned. Generations of leaders have sat in these seats. Generations of humans have walked this earth before there were seats. And so we are just taking the next right step and doing the next right thing. And so I want to ask you, Leah, as you think about the next right thing for you, kind of thinking about those 3 hats, but all the thousands of others, right? Just as a human being who probably puts a lot of shitting on your shoulder.
Oh, I should
be
all
doing
over
this,
myself.
all over this.
I should all over myself.
Exactly. Resting into kind of what God offers in this Epiphany season. The Magi were given a star, and that star gave off just enough light to see the next faithful step. They didn't have to tell the whole story. They didn't even know where they were going. They had no idea what these gifts they were bringing were, who they were for, right? So what does that really mean, and how does that resonate with you if you think about at this time in your life, even just today, right? Maybe the parking lot combo was really challenging. Now you're sitting in a different seat and in an hour, right? What resonates as you think about the next right thing in your life right now?
Thanks for asking that question. So I don't think I would have thought about the next right thing even as a practice or a way of being or a way of thinking or a way of proceeding 5-10 years ago. I think it was probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago where I hit the proverbial wall in professional life and personal life. I mean, COVID did not help. I'm imagining it probably all transpired at the same time for predictable reason. But I hit this place of I've achieved a lot. And I use air quotes because it's measurable achievement, not the kind of achievement I value today in a way that I did 10 years ago. And I set goals and I met goals. And others relied on me. At least I believed this or felt like this. And so I did that over and over. I set a goal, I achieved. I set a goal, I achieved. And somebody asked me, and I had never wondered about the answer to this question. And it changed everything about the way I think now and the way I am, which is, but do you want to? And it threw me, I mean, against the wall because they said that, well, do you want to? And I said, that's an irrelevant question. Why? I have things to do and I have a goal and I'm going to meet it. And that's what we do, right? We just keep going. And they kind of looked at me and with a little bit of like, oh, you're going to be okay. But I hope that this mattered, right? And that changed the way that I try to approach a lot of things. And the only way I knew how to do that was not to see the star as a beacon or a lighthouse. I'm like, I got to go find it. I need to go get to the goal. I stopped using the language of goals and I use dreams. Objectives, North Stars is something that we use in a lot of the work that I do because the language of goal, objective, just is the grind and the hustle that I, to be sure, live very deeply in it still as a function of not being brave enough probably to step all the way away from it. But the small shifts, I think, in the way that I think or thought and proceed allow me now to not worry about, but is the degree going to get done? Is the service going to get done? Is my car going to be taken care of? It's what can I do next? And what do my kids need next? And what does Countryside need next? And the next might be tonight or tomorrow, or it might be a year from now, but shifting my own thinking is really hard for me to, we got to get to the next thing. We have to go. It's so far out there. We have to reach it to dial it back to, but what is Tuesday? Or the information I have today is not going to be the same I have tomorrow, and giving myself the grace to say, and then you're going to be agile when you get different information tomorrow because the game changes. It just does. And I was a bit inflexible in that thinking for so long. It was doing me such an injustice psychologically, professionally, as a parent, as a partner. For me, the next right thing is not just a statement. It is a mantra that I remind myself of when I get stuck. And you've seen, I mean, if you know me for 5 minutes, you'll know it's, well, we need to get this done. We need to move this. That's just how my value had been measured for myself for a long time. And what I learned was, through a lot of deconstructing and grace of others and myself, is that's not the point. You lost the plot. And I found it. And I love this life because it's just the next right thing over and over and over. Do I fail getting there? Daily. But it's just such a beautiful opportunity to invite others into the conversation, which I haven't always been good about doing. I'm an Enneagram 1. If people know the Enneagram, most of the time they go, oh, I'm so sorry. It's true.
No.
Because it's a little perfectionistic and you can get stuck in doing nothing instead of the next right thing. So giving myself the grace to do that has been an invitation that I sometimes accept, I sometimes don't. And then inviting others in, knowing I don't have all the answers and no one expects me to except me. So that's where I think this has just been a great, the next right thing professionally, to give myself a chance to get off the hamster wheel of going to nowhere. It's a treadmill. Where am I going? I'm going nowhere. So get off.
Did you hear that, friends? The treadmill of life. I'm going nowhere, so get off. I have, as people are listening and engaging with this same inner dialogue,
yes,
there are so many projections placed upon young people from the very beginning. A goal, achievement-oriented, hyper-capitalist society that is addicted to productivity and performance. So we are not helping our young people. So, draw the line in the sand.
Draw the line in the sand.
Here's a treadmill. You have an invitation to get off. How then, as people are sitting there with a pen and paper, people needing to know from step 1 to 2, because the world doesn't give us a lot of off-ramps.
No.
Not everybody has that aha epiphany moment. But what are some real tangible kind of maybe opportunities to think differently and give people some ideas to create space enough, right? Because you do have to have that space to listen to, maybe not the friend or colleague. Maybe you're not even encountering those people who are saying, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
But where Where can people find that grace for themselves to listen deeply and intently at this time?
Oh, isn't that the question? I think the thing that I've learned, which is not, somebody said once, I don't give advice. And I tend to gravitate in that space. Who am I to give advice? I know nothing of how you're showing up today. Mm-hmm. But I am not great about inviting other people into the conversation. I see it as if it's something to solve and a problem for me to fix, whatever the thing is. And every time almost without exception, when I invite somebody in, either here at Countryside or another parent, or just a text that I start with you or someone else, like, can you believe this? Mm-hmm. For me, that is an invitation that I'm ready for another lens to consider this question. So inviting others into the conversation, I'm so worried I'm going to bother people. I know other people feel like this too.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be your problem. It's just my problem. Inviting others into the conversation because we're not supposed to do this alone. Any of this.
Amen.
Any of this. I mean, belonging can't happen with one person.
One person.
No. We talk about leadership. Can leadership happen with one person? Well, it's a whole academic debate, but I tend to think not. I can lead myself, but where?
From whom, from what,
yeah,
where to?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
The unicycle of Leah Georges.
Right. How very boring. Where is she going? She doesn't even know. And so I think inviting others in is something that I've not been very good at historically, probably my whole life. But it's always a richer story when I get to invite others to contribute to it, even if it's just my own story. And that's my kids too. That's my partner. That's people. I can name 10 people at Countryside that have done that for me without probably knowing that's what they've been doing. And that's been a blessing for me. Getting off the treadmill, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to ask the question. The consequence of getting all the way off the treadmill is big. And I'm not sure I'm brave enough to get all the way off the treadmill. I'm not yet. Yeah. Maybe I never will be, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But getting off means we're not going to be beholden to the 9 to 5 and the 5 to 9. I mean, the 5 to 9 in my life right now, I don't know about you, is as aggressive as the 9 to 5. It is. I mean, as soon as I leave here, we've got kids, 2 piano lessons, 2 sports practices, and I'll be back here for a meeting at church this evening. They're all get-tos. Taken together, they become have-tos when they're a giant bucket of stuff.
To do.
Yeah. And so a lot of it, I think, is the reframing for me of it is a get-to. I just forget when I don't notice the good amongst the have-tos.
Well, Emily Freeman in her book, The Next Right Thing, and in our season of Epiphany, talks so much about paying attention. The power of paying attention. Because if you're not paying attention, you don't know that you get to go show up with a group of people who are creating deep belonging.
Right.
You feel like you have to get in your car and drive somewhere. You don't
There's
get
an experience,
to listen
an
to
event.
Exactly.
Yes.
The paying attention starts with paying attention to your own embodied self.
Right.
And I think what you've named, the empowerment, especially as females in leadership, young women who are being raised right now, there's a lot of projected identity crisis around what it means to show up in your own body and your own story.
Sure.
And I'm not going to name this only as a female-oriented kind of problem.
Right.
But we have traditionally in this society named that women's bodies are less valuable and have particular reasons for being in the world. Childbirth, and then house cleaning, and then eventually doing it all at the same time. Right. Living in the messy middle and smiling about it while you're vacuuming, 1950s. Right? Maybe smoking when you were, a few decades ago. We've passed that point. Now your body matters a little bit because you need to keep those babies alive. Right. So, women in general, and those who are marginalized, I'm going to kind of talk about that, I think as a whole, do not have the opportunity to name that which they are moving through this body with, the inertia of a body that has choices.
I didn't choose to get on the treadmill.
I was on the treadmill when I was born, and someone told me how fast to run, what decimal it should be, and talked about getting off too. Sometimes it's just the empowered identity moment where you realize that I have the power to slow down. I don't have to actually jump off. Because I can choose to be in that, but I can run at 6.5 instead of 7.2.
Right.
And realize okay, I'm over 40. I'm going to give myself a break and run at 6.5.
Right.
Right. So I think there's power in naming that our stories
that's a great observation.
Right? We have choices. And sometimes we want to make the choice that has us doing the
Yes.
9 to 5, 5 to 9.
Right.
And
I
that
want
is
the choice.
the choice
I
to
know.
do that and to say, child, Juliet,
Yeah.
I'm doing all these. I love these things,
Right.
and I love you equally. And we might have a lot of messy middles
Right.
going to and from, but we get to make these choices.
Right.
I think that is
Yeah.
as important a message to our village, like that we're
Right.
cultivating, no matter if it's your household, here at Countryside the Village, on the Commons,
Right.
your colleagues, your personal village of self. I know I have 5 personalities, right?
Yes.
However it goes, I think the empowered, the possibility of empowerment, we are still becoming the full version of who we are meant to be as thriving humans,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes.
And the West isn't doing us any favors with a productivity driven,
Right.
incessant, I think, like pursuit of productivity as its own end,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's a struggle.
Right.
So Leah Georges,
Yeah.
who teaches this
Oh, yeah.
academically.
Right.
So you've given us a couple, like, get off or slow down.
Right.
I would say draw a line in the sand, kind of is knowing, is this your choice or is it not? But also giving yourself grace enough and space enough to reflect on, if this is my choice, I'm going to own it, right? If it's not my choice, I'm going to own it.
Right.
So how do you
Yeah.
live into that
Yep.
fierceness of, wait a minute, this is what I want to be doing right now,
Right.
or not?
Right. And I think I sometimes, it's not that I forget that that's a choice. Sometimes I fall into the day to day. Well, I go here and I do this and I do this. And if someone said, but why? I say, you just do.
Yeah.
You just go. What do you mean? Why? And I think it's a good reminder that it is the next right choice over and over and over. Now, inconvenience going to happen. Don't tell my kids, I don't want to go take them to piano lessons. I don't. They got to get them from school early. It cuts my work day, which is fine, but I got to make up that work at some point. And so I don't want to sit there. They don't want to be there either. But I am playing the long game. And to just remind myself that the next right choice doesn't mean step out of the work when it gets hard. And it can't. And I don't have that privilege. I think as a woman, I can't walk away because of, for me and for my daughter and for the other people around me, the example that I wish to set, whether I'm doing it intentionally day to day or not, is when the work gets hard, you don't step away because it gets hard. You stay because it is hard, in my experience. And that's the hardest decision to make sometimes. And what I struggle, and I don't know how you've lived this life or if you've lived this experience, when does that become, no, I'm choosing to stay in this work because it's hard, or I've committed and I don't want to stop now because then I quit. And I'm not
Or
a
the
quitter.
should.
Yes.
I should be doing it because I committed to something. And so
Yes. Oh, my
and that's ingrained.
gosh.
I mean,
Yes.
you played the violin.
I played the violin.
You showed up hours and hours and hours
Yes.
sitting for.
Yeah. And I see some, I played the violin. I started playing when I was 4 years old, and my sister did too, 2 years after me. And it's been an experience that looking back, I am so glad that no one let me quit. But in the same vein, when my kids are crying because they want to quit piano lessons,
I know.
I think, why am I not listening to my kids?
Oh, that's a hard battle. I would say the parenting struggle, the next right thing when you're wearing the parenting hat or the caregiver hat, or when you're responsible for another human, especially a younger, more vulnerable human.
Right.
Those stakes are so much higher because all we have is our own experience, right?
Yes.
You did the thing, your mom or your parent or whoever made you do the thing, and then you have your one outcome, your personal outcome. You can also look at your peers, and we can stranger things it to death and go, man, that was awful. That was great. Well, then you have a totally different economy of how utilitarian our lives have become. And so you lose the presence of slow living. So you put us in this hyper-capitalist world and go, well, it's not a one-to-one. So we have to do the very next right thing every practice.
Every practice.
I mean, I remember Quinn being in dance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was not a dance mom. Thank God she did not like dance. So we're in the car, and it's a 20-minute. It's in North Carolina. And the first few,
So
I'm
exciting.
going to see my friend. We're going to go dance. And they become less exciting and less exciting. And then they became tearful.
Yes.
And I was an athlete. I was every sport. My parents were like,
Just do
you
it.
signed up. You're doing it.
Yeah.
So with Quinn, I'm like, well, we've committed to this. We've signed up. We are not quitters. Da-da-da-da. And then I was eating those words the next 2 lessons later and having to come to this different epiphany moment where that wasn't wrong. That was my parents' next
That's
right
right.
thing. And I was doing the right thing the first 5 times I drove her and have these open conversations. And then I was able to, with grace even, talk to my child about she's teaching me that, you know what, that's a good question. Why does she have to do this? And so we are always learning.
Right.
We're having, if we can create space and slow down the treadmill,
Right.
I think that light will always shine through those cracks of maybe that performative, productivity driven world. It worked in a certain paradigm.
Sure.
And we made it through. It doesn't mean that it's a plug and play.
Right.
It means that grace abounds.
Grace abounds.
And we can, in a moment, show up to that child, to that person.
Yeah.
And the Spirit who loves and will always love and know more and live through us, like, leads the way.
Right.
And if we can be present to that, right? We can be present to whoever and whatever needs us to just be listening and affirming.
And it takes the noticing to do that, right? This is where I'm sitting here, I am fully present in this conversation, and I know as soon as we're done here, I hit the road for the next thing, right?
Exactly.
And two things can be true at the same time. I can and wish to be present where I am. And that takes work for me to notice, right? It does. And that's just not my level set to be in this moment. It is where I am happiest.
Yeah.
It is where I feel like the most me. And it takes me a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
It does. And that I don't feel shame about that because I know that, and I can do that
It's
work.
freeing. You can do it.
It is. I mean, it's just the noticing, I think, that if I can show my kids the same, right? I don't take a lot of time to do that out loud. I mean, I walked out of my front door the other day. I was in my office, and I looked at a leaf that was on the sidewalk. I picked it up, and I had no idea that looked like that. And it was that, that sort of flood of, what are you doing?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
You went out here to grab a trash can because it needed to get moved back to the garage. But what you gave yourself a moment to do was wonder about a leaf. And that changed at least a bit of the afternoon of, oh gosh, what can we notice today? What do others need that I notice?
Yes.
Because when I'm not noticing for myself, then I stop noticing what others need, what they actually need, right, Jenny?
Yes,
not what I
what we
think
think
that
they
they
need.
need, what they actually need.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the parenting work that I will do forever is parenting the sweet children I have, not who I think that they will become. They have told me. I know who they are.
Yes, right.
If I can slow down and notice, that's all I have to do.
That's all you have to do. And it takes a lot.
It's so hard.
You have to read, there's a book called On Looking.
Okay.
New York Times bestseller. I was living in Durham. My kids were it was probably 10-ish years ago.
Okay.
And one of my favorite humans who's Canadian, she is this avid
Best
reader.
people are.
Oh, she handed me this book. And Your Story, The Leaf, is this little preschooler walking down New York City holding his dad's hand. And that's all I'm going to say. But On Looking, it's the power of being present to the moments. And all you have to do is just take the breath and be present. Because especially the 4-year-old or the 10-year-old, 11-year-old, they are already looking. They are already seeing how the leaves are. And they are the leaf.
They are the leaf. They are the leaf. And when I am rushing them to get in the car and wondering where Juliet's shoe was, I shared the story on Sunday. I'm like, ma'am, are you okay with me sharing the story about the shoe that she forgot? She's like, I wore both today. Like, you got it, girlfriend. She was fine with it.
Yes.
But that's it. I'm trying to get them to the next thing, not the next right thing, but the next thing over and over that I drop them off to school. I talk about the drop-off line in the epiphany reflection I gave. But what I left out was that when I drop them off at school and I have expressed frustration with how slow things are moving, the next thing that happens is they shut the door and I pull away and I think, you had such an opportunity to connect with your kids this morning.
Yeah.
And all I did was ask her where her shoe was 8 times.
Yes. Same. We are giving ourselves a moment.
Yes.
Collective village.
Yes.
Right? To be present, to just let the light in and slow the treadmill.
Right.
Leah has given a lot of wisdom in this really short amount of time. I think one of the greatest gifts of building a community intentionally. I mean, people at Countryside want to be here. These amazing, you all are amazing people who have so much to offer.
My gosh.
If we could collectively decide to be the light for each other every once in a while just go, hey, pause. Leah, what are some last words that we could think of as a team, right?
Right.
Moderator coming in. I mean, folks, if you've got a moderator sitting in this seat, take every opportunity
Right.
to sit with, to learn, to listen, and also to see how amazing you are, right? Look in the mirror and know that. I love this scripture that God has given us every good gift that we need for life. And I go back to it all the times because I think about, wait, the life that we have projected that we're supposed to be living, or for life, for
Right.
living.
Right.
And that's human thriving.
Right.
Human thriving only happens when we realize that we belong to each other.
Yes.
That we are woven together with those we love and those we don't love so much, with
Right.
those we know and those we don't know, right?
Yes.
Stranger for
Right.
all of the things. If we know that to be true and that we have everything we need for human thriving,
Right.
what else are we doing? What are we doing?
I know.
Go out the front door and look at the leaf
Look at the leaf.
and let that be the rest of your day.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing, because we're all going, oh, that was so great. And then you're like, oh, but I got to get in the car. And that's life.
It
So
is
how do
life.
you let the leaf infiltrate
Yeah.
the miles on the road? The meal,
Yeah.
you know, I try to do meal planning with my kids, or
Oh gosh, teach me how.
no.
It would
Shannon,
change my
I'm
life.
just going to say right here, Shannon cooks all the food in my house. So I can buy some good food.
That's good.
But every once in a while,
Yeah.
let's make something together.
Right.
And it is the most amazing. It's like, why don't we always do this?
I know.
Because that is what we need for life.
I know. It's every vacation I take, and I come back and I think, what are we doing?
What did
Why-
we do?
That was great. That was great. I was telling another member of this church, a good friend of mine, they went on a vacation, a road trip vacation, and they came back, and I said, wasn't it great to remember that you don't only love these people, you like them, the people in your home that you spend your time with. And the day to day, I don't want to say you forget, because that sounds like a lazy choice, and it isn't. It's not an intentional choice, but the treadmill means we're whacking away everything else that's coming, and that's the good stuff, right? For me, that's the good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I shared on Sunday, I work at Creighton. It's a Jesuit institution, and so I get exposed to a lot of ways of thinking and knowing. All invitations, some I accept, some I choose not to accept, but they're all moments where I get to wonder a little bit, and I'm glad for wonder. And someone there on campus that I respect so deeply says over and over, the glory of God is a human being fully alive. For me, that's been life-altering, because it's the permission that I didn't know that I needed, that I don't need, but apparently I do, to be all my full self, show up as me wherever I am. And that is well enough, and invite my kids to do the same, and do it here
Yes.
at Countryside, knowing it's different from the way people have done it before. And it'll be different from the people that come after me. That's the point. And if I don't show up as my full self, whatever that looks like, some days it's different. Some days it's eaten lunch. Some days it hasn't eaten lunch. But that is God's invitation to me, I think, is to be my most me. And if I do that, this is easy, right? Being in community happens when I show up as me, because if I am, then you get to be. And then you get to be. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. Is it's intentional work to build belonging. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't. It just doesn't. In my experience, you've got to have the right space to do it well.
Yes.
But if I can show up as me, as God's invited me, right, to be, belonging happens, because you get to be you. And that's been the privilege of being here at Countryside. And the reminder I get a lot. St. Irenaeus, thank you so much.
Yes.
The glory of God is a human being fully alive. And if I can be, that's why it's a get to. I've come here and just sat here and worked before at Countryside, done my real job, my Creighton job, my paid job, to sit here, because that's where I felt most alive. And I knew that. It was the building called me to be here, and I was brave enough to listen. And that was the next right thing that day.
Brave enough to listen, the next right thing.
Right.
I would say, right, this is a conversation about, this is a blip. This is
Yes.
a conversation that happens in a lot of our own spheres, in our minds, with our friends, our spouses, but there's not always the opportunity to make it manifest.
No.
Right?
No, that's, yes. When are you going to
Where
shove that
am
in
I-
after dinner and
yes.
before bedtime? I'm kidding, but
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But where can you can do this at church.
Yes.
You can do this on this commons. You can do this in this sanctuary, in the coffee house. You can do it anywhere.
In your way.
In your own
In your way
way.
I can't do everything here. You can't do everything here.
Right.
Nobody in this building is doing everything, but we can do the thing that we feel the most alive. And that gets to change, right? The next thing might be something different, but we all have a play. We all have a part. And when we step into those things as our full selves, that's when our boards are doing the best work. I walked in the sanctuary and I looked at the behind the cross, the new art we have back there.
Yes.
And
Sanctuary
I had to
art.
stop for a minute. Yes. Right. That's just people that did the next right thing, who said yes, who said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway, who said, I don't know, but I feel right doing that. And that next right step meant I got to feel what I felt 45 minutes ago when I walked in.
Next right thing might be showing up on a day when it's cold and dreary and you just want to cuddle up, but you feel compelled to move forward, and that star and that light is drawing you into this community. It might be teaching a 4 or 5 class about courage. It might be making food with Hasabah to bring to those who are food insecure, right? It might be just walking in the building and having a cup of coffee. I mean, there are so many invitations to walk through the door, and I think that's really the gift of what it means. I always think about Parker Palmer's kind of gift to the world of, cultivating a life well lived means saying yes every time there's an invitation, and that invitation is spirit to build that wholeness. I mean, my star word was wholeness this year, and I was like, wow, what a gift to embrace the wholeness, not just as a self, but we are embodying a tiny little fractal of light that is the full body of Christ, the full light of God's love. So Countryside is on this amazing commons, tri-faith organization that is so much more than an organization. It's when you walk onto this commons, people have talked about for RRSJ, different events. You walk in the commons, you can go into the temple, you can go over to AMI, Tri-Faith Center, and the spirit of inclusivity, of this deep love, like kind of falls on your shoulders.
Sure.
And that is a gift.
It is a gift.
That is sort of wholeness that's already here.
It's there.
And we have to just look and pay attention.
And notice.
Notice.
Yes.
Look. So I don't know. I mean, we could be here all day.
We could be here all day.
Talking about belonging and community. And Leah Georges has so much wisdom to offer. And what a gift that you are vulnerable enough to share your own story. That you're still willing to engage in this whatever treadmill life and keep going.
Ironically, I don't run. I'm like emotionally opposed to running. So when you're talking about speed on treadmills, I'm like, I don't know if that's fast or slow, but it sounds terrible.
It is all terrible. Yeah. So let's just say that there are lots of ways. Dan does chair yoga and movement and breathing.
Yes.
So we all need to lean into whatever it is
Good.
that's going to help us just stop shitting on ourselves and breathe in the deep breath that is the abiding nature of God's love. So here, it takes a village to do all of this work. And the village is you. The village is this community. Yeah. The village is that child who left their shoe. The village is, the person that you're really mad about doing something or saying something to you. It's all the things. And the gift that we are all called into is to cultivate and co-create this wonderful community that we are blessed to have. Right. So I hope that each one of you, if you're engaging on the podcast, if you're here, a part of Countryside or just in Omaha, that you will definitely stop in and say hi and find your place here at Countryside. This is your place, your people, and your home. Yeah. And there are always more questions to ask than we have answers for.
That's right.
But that's why it takes a village. So
it takes a village.
Yeah, Georges, any last parting words as our incoming moderator?
Oh my gosh.
Anything you want to share that as we tune out and let Epiphany kind of lead the way?
Oh man. Well, that's the invitation, right? That I am choosing to notice, and it's a choice to notice. It doesn't happen, like I said, belonging doesn't happen by itself. My car didn't just drive me here because I drove myself to this building when I felt called to this building. And so we do have a lot of autonomy and choice to notice and to make ourselves available, listening for God, to be found and seen and to be invited to notice. And so I think, I haven't been part of this Countryside community for a really, really long time, but I've been a UCC member since forever. And I think Congregationalist churches are a work in the best way for the right reason, but they are the next right thing over and over. And the seasons come and go, and then the next one comes again. And what I've found in my work and as moderator, part of the moderator team, working with really good people that care a lot, is that my role as a parishioner sitting in a pew is not different, but it is different from serving in an elected leadership role in the congregation. And my next right thing is playing with those distinctions in a way that serves future countryside well. My goal is to walk away from my role as moderator in a year and a month from now or so, and say, I didn't have all the right answers, but I asked a lot of questions. And I think that's something I've learned from people much wiser than me too, is, I need to be the most prepared, but I don't need to know all the right answers, because the collective wisdom amongst us has them. And when it takes a effective leader to bring that information to a place that moves us and our ministries and countryside forward into what the world needs, what Tri-Faith needs, and then what we as a church need, it's not just magic, it's hard, good work. And when you do it together in community, it feels a lot less like work.
That's right. The next right thing.
The next right thing.
Right?
Over and over.
Over and over.
Yeah.
The
And when we
next right
step in
thing.
it, we take one step, the next right step back to move forward in a direction that we need, because we don't have all the information today.
Yeah.
I'll have different information tomorrow, and that's when we make the next right thing happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
4 words. The next right thing. And I like to say the next faithful step.
Yes.
That's all you can really do. Ask yourself, be bold enough and courageous enough to ask yourself, are you letting your own light out? And are you letting enough light in that you are nurtured enough for the journey? And if you need some empowerment, if you need a fierce talking to,
Yes.
right, know that there's always a place for you. And if you are feeling down or discouraged, or you don't really know how to let go of some of the things, or you're feeling weighted down by something, know that this place is a safe place for you. If you have those questions, bring them, and know that this village, us times about 1,000 other people, are here to walk with you on this journey. Friends, the next right thing is just about this very moment, knowing that the presence of the living God, which is really love that overwhelms us, is always available. So know that you are welcome here. This is a community that values deep and abiding connections and belonging. So friends, it takes a village. We will see you next time. Thank you, Leah, for joining us.
Thank you.